Is there anything left to sell, bro? What's up, everyone? I'm Konstantinos, and this is another video of Crypto Unplugged, where I try to cut off the noise for you and give you some more clarity in crypto. So in this video, we're gonna explore my thoughts on the outlook of May. In the beginning of the year, everything looked to be very bullish, and I was quite anxious, to be honest, because I didn't like the fact that pretty much everyone was very bullish and was expecting a very bullish February and March, because typically what everyone expects never happens. And this is what actually happened. The market nuked pretty much for the entirety of 2025, and we had this small pump in the past few weeks, and which raises the question, is there anything left to sell? What is interesting in these past few days is that a lot of people in crypto flipped bearish, which is quite surprising for me, but it's also quite optimistic because I don't like the environment when everyone is bullish. So this gives me some hope that my bullish outcome might be correct. Let's dive into the Bitcoin monthly returns, which I think it's a very interesting chart at this particular point of time, because 2025, it was one of the rare years that we had a red February and a red March. It has happened twice more in the history of Bitcoin, in 2020 and in 2014. In both cases, we had green Mays in 2020 and in 2014. So it has never happened before to have two red months, February and March. And actually, most of the cases that we had 1 month red, we had quite bullish May. So seasonality was suggesting that we would have February and March green, and then probably sell in May and go away. However, I believe that this year inverse, and I think it's very hard for people to really believe that we're gonna have a bullish summer. So even though data may suggest that, people will be very cautious and very concerned because they assume that summer is a low volume period, is the time that investment managers, traders, they go away, nothing pretty much happens. So even though the year has been very bearish so far, some people think that it can keep being bearish for the rest of the year. Not for the rest of the year, for the next quarter at least. So one outcome is that I want to go to the price action. We discussed that before in my previous video, but I need to highlight it again. So we had a series of lower highs and lower lows, and recently we had the break of structure where for the first time after this whole downtrend we had a break of structure where we had this high here and we did a higher high. So the expectational order flow is to make a higher high for a higher low. Daily chart, an accumulation schematic in the daily chart that we discussed before, the top 1, top 2, top 3 accumulation that sends the price to the top of the range. It's quite strong. I discussed before that these first two taps are not very clean. However, overall I think it's a clean model, which is very hard to fade, and it's a very strong and convincing break of structure. And actually in the past few days, this consolidation makes me even more bullish, for two reasons. One, I think it showcases the strength of the Bitcoin and the market overall, and the other is that, you know, a pullback lower a few days after Bitcoin reached that level, it would be very expected. So now the way the price goes is also quite unexpected. And again, I think market makers and the market favors the least expected outcome. So everything looks good so far. Another thing that I like in the price action is the stochastic RSI. The stochastic RSI is an indicator that I look a lot. I do not trade based on that. However, it's a very nice indicator as a confluence. So what is happening in uptrends? It's when price goes up, RSI goes up. When RSI tops and then goes down, the price goes sideways, which is very bullish. You know, if the opposite happens in a downtrend, when the price goes down, the RSI goes down, and when the RSI goes up, the price goes sideways. And when the price is trapped within a range, then quite often you see that when the price goes up, the stochastic RSI goes up, and when the price goes down, the stochastic RSI goes down. So here we had a quite aggressive move of the stochastic RSI towards the bottom, while the price of the Bitcoin is consolidating here. Actually, you could even argue that this is a vertical accumulation. So price-wise, we're looking very, very good here. As previously discussed, USDT dominance, which works inversely with the price of Bitcoin, has created this pattern here. Tap 1, tap 2, tap 3, a very clean distribution schematic. It has found support here in this level, however, it struggles to put a big bounce, and I don't expect anything else than a lower high for them to create a lower low. So the price is expected to do something like this, which again, it's looking very good. I'm using the USDT dominance chart. Some of you may wonder why I use only USDT and I don't include USDC as well, but here is the chart of USDT plus USDC, so to include all the stable coins in the market, and as you see, it looks the same. So there is not any difference between how USDT or USDC trades. One of the most important charts that again I discussed in my previous video about the timing of the alt season. It's the DXY, the strength of the dollar, and the inverse correlation with the price of Bitcoin. And as previously said, this has a 2-month lead. So what happens in the DXY chart, we expect this to happen 2 months later inversely in the price of Bitcoin. So it put these two tops mid-January and early February, and then Bitcoin put the double bottom in here in March and April, 2 months later. So now in DXY, 2 months ago we were here. So this consolidation that we see now in the price of Bitcoin, it's actually here in DXY. What happens after the consolidation in DXY is that the price kept looking down. I wouldn't take any of these charts in isolation, but the confluence of all of this is a strong bullish signal for me. So we have DXY, we have USDT dominance, and we also have, as previously discussed, the M2 money supply, which which tracks very well the price of Bitcoin, and you see that it keeps going up. Again, this is around 3 months lead. So what happens in the global liquidity, M2 money supply, tends to happen in the price of Bitcoin 3 months later. So this chart is offsetted by a little over 3 months here, and it follows very well the price of Bitcoin. So for me, these are all very strong indicators. I do remain very bullish, and I do expect a very nice outlook in May. I also want to discuss some macroeconomic data. So it's been quite some time that we have fears of a recession in the news. We actually had the first negative GDP reading, and if we get another negative reading in the next sprint, then we will officially have a recession. However, this may happen or may not, and even if it happens, Bitcoin tends to perform very well in recessions, which also makes sense if you think of it, because when economy struggles, when people struggle financially, they tend to take more risk, and crypto assets is the riskiest asset comparing to stocks or other commodities like gold and silver. So it makes sense that people will want to risk more. I also want to discuss a little bit the tariffs. So the tariffs and the war with between US and China, it's a little bit extreme and ridiculous. Above 100% tariffs, it's simply nonsense. And the thing is that these things have an immediate impact in businesses. So the governments might fight, might do their political game. However, businesses feel this impact from day one. So this is quite serious. And it doesn't make sense to me that this can last very long. So I would expect that the war between US and China in terms of tariffs will be resolved quite soon. And it already, when it comes to other countries, it already feels that trade deals are coming very, very soon. When it comes to rate cuts, I discussed in my previous video again that I believe that rate cuts are quite high risk events, because it needs to be a very particular context for the rate cuts to happen in order for the markets to perceive that in a positive way. And since markets are very emotional and they can flip from ultra bullish to ultra bearish in the flip of a second, there is always a risk when it comes to rate cuts. So part of me feels safer when we have interest rates higher for longer. For the immediate short term, there is the FOMC meeting tomorrow. There has been some increased volatility in the past few days. We expect some volatility until tomorrow at least. But this pretty much means that you should be careful and probably completely avoid leverage trading. But other than that, it shouldn't make any difference in the long term. And also for the immediate short term, I also wanted to show you guys the CME gap that we have formed. Because, so what is happening with the CME gap is that statistically, the Bitcoin price tends to fill this gap by the end of Wednesday. So the CME gaps, in most cases, more than 90%, they are filled during the week, and in most cases it happens Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So not only it's very likely that this CME gap will be filled, it's also statistically speaking quite possible that this will be filled by the end of tomorrow, which means that if the Fed's tomorrow is quite dovish, we can see, a big green candle bringing the price all the way up to 97,500. And another thing when it comes to price action, which I liked very much yesterday, is that we swept the monthly low. So this was the 1st of May, the first day of the month, and you see the price, it was pretty much positive only. It is very rare, it can happen, but it is very rare to have a month without a wick to the downside. So yesterday we created this wick, we swept the monthly low. Today we went even higher, so this is not a very big drop. So from the monthly open to today's low, it's not even 1%. However, we do have a wick now to the downside. So, it's it makes me feel more comfortable. So I would go out a little bit if we had a month with no wick to the downside. I think I'm going to keep this short. I know some of my videos have been quite long, so I think I'm gonna leave this here. So apparently, guys, I'm very bullish for May, and I have a very positive feeling for the summer as well, but it's too early to assess. We always have to take it one step at a time. So the May outlook looks good, and the question that you might have is that whether you should buy or not. I think you shouldn't trade with leverage. If you want to buy, I think again today, tomorrow, maybe there is increased volatility. So you can wait for 2-3 days to see a more clear direction. But this has the risks as well, because if there is a positive outcome from the FOMC, the price can go aggressively up, within a few minutes or a few hours. So there is a chance that altcoins will put double-digit gains in a day. Or if the outlook of the FOMC is not good, the opposite may happen. Maybe you buy something and then the market nukes. I think I'm gonna mention again Pinlink. Not because I'm so bullish on Pinlink, but because of the chart. So let's clear that. So when you see long accumulations like this, if you see coins like that, I think, and you like it fundamentally, I think it's a good time to buy. You see, Pinlink didn't care about what happened to the market. The market this year has been going, the market nuked and then spiked and everything. Pinlink has been going sideways for a very long accumulation. So charts like this, I think you can buy. You can buy charts like Ondo, which is again very similar. So it hasn't moved very much from the lows. So for example, Ondo, for me, it's a good buy on spot. But again, now I'm not suggesting coins. It's more that you want to see charts like this on coins that are fundamentally strong. Something like SUI, it's riskier to buy. You already lost that move. So even though it looks very bullish for the rest of the year, if the market nukes, so it can look more, comparing to a chart that has been consolidating for so long. That's my last comment. always remember to don't flip sides based on temporary news and events. You should have a long-term thesis, and as long as your long-term thesis is not invalidated, there is no reason uh, to flip sides. That's my last comment. Until the next one, take care. I'll see you soon.